The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
You know, you don't make the playoffs in January. They don't hand out the Stanley Cup in the middle of winter. But the Ottawa Senators today have something to celebrate because they had an electric 6-5 win against the Boston Bruins. I think probably at this point, considering all of the stakes, their best win of the entire season. And it was electric because of how they were able to come back in this game after being down, after getting up early and then losing that lead and then coming back and then capitalizing on that comeback in the shootout and getting the win. So they were up 2-0 early on. Boston comes storming back, makes it 3-2, and then eventually they go up 5-3, 16:42 left in the game. The goalie is pulled for the Senators. Nick Jensen scores, makes it 5-4. Then, seconds remaining in the game, Josh Norris pots one and forces overtime. Levi Merlanen, who's been holding this team together, makes a couple huge saves in overtime to get the game to a shootout. He's done perfect in the shootout. Ottawa wins. They get the one lone shootout goal, and they win that game in the shootout. Pick up the 2 points against the Boston Bruins, who pick up 1 point in the standing. So right now, the Ottawa Senators sit in the playoffs as the first wildcard seed. They're tied in points with the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Boston Bruins, but they've played less games than the Bruins, same amount of games played as the Columbus Blue Jackets, but they have more wins than the Columbus Blue Jackets, who have 22 wins. The Ottawa Senators have 23 wins, but they both have 50 points. So the tiebreaker goes to the Ottawa Senators, who sit in that first wildcard spot. And for the Ottawa Senators, in the middle of January, to be sitting in that first wildcard spot, how can you not say that this is a success right now? Because you got to judge it on a curve, right? Like, teams have different views of success. For the Senators, for how long they've been out of the playoffs, and this year, like, the whole goal is just get in there. To be in this position right now has to be a successful half season for the Senators. And now it's about pushing it forward. And I think this game in particular is something to celebrate, because what we saw today, watching that game on Saturday afternoon, was a Sens team put up goals and overcome their shortcomings with goals, which is something they don't do. They don't do that so often in this whole run as this Sens team that's been struggling and hasn't made the playoffs. And this year in particular, the Sens sit 22nd in goals for per game right now on the season. They have a +4 goal differential, and they're still 22nd in goals for. They're not able to score at will. They're not able to score in bunches. They've mainly been on this little win streak here, this little portion here, through goaltending, through Levi playing amazing goaltending. He's had 2 shutouts already. In the other game, he had a shutout that went to overtime, and they lost it 1-0 because they couldn't score anything. And you look back, and we take a step back, and we look at their season in December, where they had a fantastic December. The Ottawa Senators went 9-3-1 in 13 games in December. In that month where they were tied for second in the league in points, they had 19 points, and that was tied for second most points in the month of December. In that month, where they're 9-3-1, they still sat 18th in goals for per game as a team in the league. But they were tied for second in goals against per game. They only allowed, on average, 2 goals a game in the month of December. And that's how the Ottawa Senators have been winning these games. And during their slump in November, when they couldn't win anything, it's because they couldn't get anything into the back of the net. And right now, when the Ottawa Senators get good goaltending, they can win. But when they don't, they don't. And now, seeing this win today, do we all have a little hope that they can get some scoring? Like, maybe Batherson can break out of his little slump. Maybe Norris is now, hey, we can get this timely goal scoring from Norris. He's credited with a goal earlier as well that got corrected. So we actually had 2 goals in the game this afternoon. And then we got Brady Tkachuk, who's leading the team in goals, but it's only 18. You'd hope that that number can jump a little in the second half. And I hope that, for the sake of Ottawa Senators fans and this playoff push, they can find this level of goal scoring out of guys like Stützle and Norris and Tkachuk and Batherson. And hopefully Steve Staios can find a way to get another winger on this team, because that's really what they need. But the Sens are so tight to the cap and tight with the bodies they have in their draft picks. I know they don't want to send any out, that it's going to be hard for this team to improve at the trade deadline, but there might be a way for Staios to do some low-level moves. And for the Sens in the second half, you hope that your addition of the trade deadline can just be David Perron coming back healthy off of IR, because he's been out for a little bit here, and hopefully that helps your winger depth situation. But we have to be positive with what they're doing with what seems like so little. And getting Allmark back too will be a big help, but they need to find a way to help in front of Allmark. And maybe even getting more goals from the back end will be helpful for this team, because they haven't been strong at getting goals from their defensemen this season. So I'm trying to find a way to generate more goals and games like this for the Ottawa Senators so that they can make a real good push for the playoffs and really stay in this playoff spot. Today, they had 96 shot attempts to Boston's 52 shots attempts. And Boston is a team that allows a lot of shot attempts, but the Sens were taking advantage of that today and getting all of those shots off. So a lot of positivity out of one win, but it is just one win. And the Sens were slumping like a week ago, and then they got good goaltending, and now they're not slumping anymore. We'll see what happens now tomorrow against New Jersey, because it is a back-to-back, and that's another reason that this win was so big. You want to get that W on the first night of the back-to-back, at least some points. They're able to get both of them, and now they play New Jersey on Sunday, and we'll see if they can get 4 points out of 4 on this back-to-back little swing here over the weekend. So a lot of positives for the Sens today. I just wanted to say that, and it looks like this team has a shot at getting to the playoffs. I don't know about going on a deep run once they're in the playoffs, but this season for the Sens, in my eyes, is success is just making it there. Just ending that drought for them is success. We all have different bars for success. For me, the Senators doing that alone is like, hell yeah, what a season. What a step forward for this organization. That's it. That's it for me right now. I will see you again here very soon. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you'll be listening or watching right now, and I appreciate you for that. Good night from Toronto.
And that is how it's done.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Jesse Blake, the guy that likes to hear his name twice in one sentence. Sure, I know him. No, he doesn't have an ego at all.